There are moments in baseball that remind you why the sport matters. Not just as entertainment. As a genuine test of what human beings can do under the most extreme pressure, against the best competition, when everything is on the line and there is nowhere to hide. Sunday night in Miami was one of those moments. Team USA versus the Dominican Republic. World Baseball Classic Semifinal. Win or go home. The most anticipated game of the 2026 WBC, and by almost every account one of the most anticipated international baseball games in years. U.S. manager Mark DeRosa said before the first pitch that he expected it to be one of the best games of all time. He was right. Team USA wins 2-1. They are going to the World Baseball Classic final on Tuesday. They will face the winner of Monday's Venezuela versus Italy semifinal. They have a chance to win their second WBC title in history and avenge the loss to Japan in the 2023 final. And the man who made it possible is a 23-year-old from the Pittsburgh Pirates who just delivered the most important start of his professional life against the most dangerous lineup he has ever faced. Paul Skenes. Reigning National League Cy Young Award winner. The best pitcher left in this tournament. The young man who just stood on the mound in Miami in front of a crowd that was largely rooting against him and held the most powerful Dominican Republic lineup in WBC history to 1 run over 4 1/3 innings. This is the full story of what happened last night. Every play. Every moment. Every piece of context that makes it extraordinary. Let us get into it. First, let us establish what Paul Skenes was walking into, because the numbers on the Dominican Republic lineup are legitimately staggering and you need to feel the full weight of them to appreciate what he did. The Dominican Republic entered Sunday's semifinal having scored 51 runs in 5 games. An average of more than 10 runs per game. They had hit 14 home runs, already tying the all-time WBC tournament record before Sunday's game even started. Their team OPS was 1.090. In a regular MLB season, an OPS of 1.090 would make you the best hitter in baseball. The entire Dominican Republic lineup was collectively producing at that level through the tournament. The names in that batting order: Fernando Tatis Jr. of the San Diego Padres, Juan Soto of the New York Mets, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays, Manny Machado of the San Diego Padres, Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners. 5 players who in any regular MLB season would be among the most dangerous hitters in the game, all in the same lineup, all locked in and hot at the peak of a tournament they had dominated from the opening game. The average fastball those hitters had seen from a starting pitcher in the entire 2026 WBC was 90.8 miles per hour. The slowest fastball Paul Skenes threw against Mexico in his WBC debut was 95.3. His average fastball against Mexico was 97.4. His top velocity that day was 99.7. He was going to throw pitches at speeds the Dominican hitters had simply not seen in this tournament. Not close to seen. Not similar to. Just had not seen. The matchup was as pure a test of pitcher versus lineup as baseball can produce. The best pitcher in the tournament against the best lineup in the tournament. Winner goes to the final. Loser goes home. DeRosa said one of the best games of all time. He was not being dramatic. Now let us go through the game itself, because every inning had something worth talking about and the full picture is better than any single highlight. The first inning went clean for Skenes. He set the Dominican Republic down in order, establishing immediately that the velocity advantage was real. The Dominican hitters, who had been timing up pitchers throwing in the high 80s and low 90s all tournament, were seeing something completely different. The timing that had made them look like gods against everyone else was not transferable to what Skenes was putting in front of them. Then came the second inning and Junior Caminero. Caminero is 21 years old and plays for the Tampa Bay Rays. He entered Sunday's game with 2 home runs in the tournament and had established himself as one of the most dangerous young hitters in the Dominican lineup. Skenes threw him a 1-2 slider and Caminero crushed it. A solo home run, the Dominican Republic's record-breaking 15th of the tournament, and the first run of the game. The Dominican crowd in Miami erupted. Skenes had been touched. He did not change his face. He did not change his body language. He got back on the rubber and retired the next 3 hitters as if nothing had happened. That is worth stopping on for a second. The pitcher who just gave up the home run that broke a WBC record, in front of a crowd that was loudly celebrating, on the biggest stage of his professional career, did not flinch. His teammates and manager would say versions of the same thing after the game. He has a special presence. He treats every game the same. He wanted the moment, and the moment was not too big for him. The third inning produced the defensive play of the tournament. Possibly the defensive play of the year. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a single. He then tried to advance to third base on a 2-out single by another hitter, attempting to go first to third. And Aaron Judge, standing in right field, fielded the ball and threw a strike to third base to cut Tatis down. The throw was perfect. Tatis was out by a comfortable margin. The inning was over. Juan Soto, who was on deck, never got to the plate. Think about what that play prevented. Soto at the plate with a runner on third and 2 outs in a scoreless game. 1 hit. 1 run. Potentially the momentum of the entire game shifting. Judge took that away with a throw from right field that the commentators were still talking about an hour later. Skenes walked off the field having held the Dominican Republic to 1 run through 3 innings. The U.S. dugout had energy. The 4th inning was the most important sequence of the entire game. And it had 3 completely separate acts that each deserved their own script. First, Skenes found himself in a bases-loaded jam. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. doubled. Manny Machado singled. Julio Rodriguez was hit by a 98-mile-per-hour fastball. Bases loaded. No outs. Juan Soto coming to the plate. The sold-out stadium in Miami was at maximum volume. And Skenes induced a ground ball from Soto that Bobby Witt Jr. turned into a double play. The inning effectively ended. 1 run allowed in 4 innings against the most powerful lineup in WBC history. Then in the top of the 4th, with Skenes back in the dugout, Team USA's offense finally delivered. Gunnar Henderson came to the plate and hit a solo home run. Tied at 1. Then Roman Anthony stepped in and hit another solo home run. Back-to-back homers. Team USA leads 2-1. 2 solo shots in the same half-inning from 2 of the brightest young stars in American baseball, flipping the scoreboard from deficit to lead against a Dominican bullpen that had dominated every lineup it had faced in this tournament. Skenes returned for the 5th and was finally touched again. Back-to-back singles from Tatis and Ketel Marte put 2 runners on with nobody out. 71 pitches in his night. Manager DeRosa came to get him. He walked off the mound to a standing ovation from the American fans in the building. The Dominican Republic fans applauded too. Because what he had done, holding that lineup to 1 run over 4 1/3 innings in that environment, deserved acknowledgement from everyone who understands baseball regardless of which jersey they were wearing. The reigning National League Cy Young Award winner was not exactly dominant. But he held the powerful Dominican lineup, arguably the best one ever assembled. To 1 run over 4 1/3 innings in front of a pro-Dominican crowd. It was Skenes' most important start since turning professional, and he met the moment. Then the bullpen took over. Tyler Rogers, Griffin Jax, David Bednar, Garrett Whitlock, and finally Mason Miller. 5 pitchers. 4 2/3 innings. 2 hits allowed. 6 walks. 0 runs. The Dominican Republic had every opportunity to tie or take the lead in the final 4 innings. They had walks. They had hits. They had the crowd. They could not score. The American bullpen, pitch by pitch, kept the 2-1 lead intact while the Dominican offense pushed and pushed against a wall that would not move. And then the 9th inning. Mason Miller on the mound. 2 outs. Full count. Geraldo Perdomo at the plate. Representing the tying run. Miller threw a fastball. Plate umpire Mike McClinsky called it strike 3. Perdomo turned immediately to argue. The Dominican dugout erupted. The replay angles spread across social media within minutes, showing a pitch that appeared to catch the low outside corner or possibly miss it by a fraction depending on which angle you were looking at and what strike zone you were using. Dominican manager Albert Pujols was measured in his response. He told reporters he was not going to focus on that last pitch. That he did not want to criticize any of it. That it just was not meant to be for them. But the internet was not measured. The clip of the called third strike became one of the most viewed and shared baseball moments of the year within hours of the final out. Half the comment sections in baseball were calling it a robbery. The other half were calling it a good pitch on the outside corner and saying the Dominican Republic had a full game to score more than one run and did not do it. Both conversations are still happening right now as you watch this video. And both of them are going to be happening through Tuesday's final and beyond. What is not debatable is the outcome. Team USA 2, Dominican Republic 1. Team USA is going to the World Baseball Classic final. Here is the bigger context that makes this story matter beyond Sunday night. Because the game was extraordinary, but the story of what Paul Skenes represents to American baseball is the part that outlasts the tournament. He is 23 years old. He plays for the Pittsburgh Pirates, which has been one of the least successful franchises in Major League Baseball for most of the past decade. He is on a small market team in a mid-sized city that does not get the national coverage of the Yankees or Dodgers or Mets. And he is already being discussed as potentially the best pitcher in baseball. At 1.96, he has compiled the lowest ERA after the first 2 seasons of a career since 1920 when baseball's live ball era began. The lowest ERA in the first 2 seasons of a career in over 100 years. That is not a small number. That is a number that puts him in company that the history of the sport does not offer casually. And the Pirates are going to have to make a decision about him. His free agency is projected for 2029. Pittsburgh, which has one of the smallest payrolls in baseball, is going to face the question that small market teams always face when they develop a generational talent. Do you keep him and build around him, or do you trade him for prospects before he walks? The WBC is showing every front office in baseball exactly what Skenes is capable of on the biggest stages. Every general manager who watched Sunday night's game was taking notes. His girlfriend Livy Dunn, the LSU gymnast and one of the most followed nil athletes in college sports history, was in Miami watching. She has been at every WBC game he has pitched. She posted immediately after the win. Her reaction, which spread across every platform within minutes, brought the story to audiences who do not follow baseball at all but follow the Skenes and Dunn cultural moment that has been building since last season. The final is Tuesday. Team USA versus whoever wins Monday's Venezuela against Italy semifinal. The Americans are going in with the pitching depth, the defensive talent and now the momentum of a team that survived a genuinely difficult tournament path to get to the game that matters. They lost to Italy in pool play. They had to scramble to advance out of their group. They survived Canada in the quarterfinals. And then they beat the Dominican Republic, the best team in this tournament by every offensive measure, with Paul Skenes on the mound and Aaron Judge throwing out Fernando Tatis Jr. from right field and Bobby Witt Jr. making plays that nobody else at shortstop does, and Gunnar Henderson and Roman Anthony hitting back-to-back home runs when the game needed them most. DeRosa said after the final out that this is a game they will remember forever. He said it with the specific quiet certainty of a man who has watched a lot of baseball and knows when he has just seen something worth remembering. He is right. Sunday night in Miami was worth remembering. Now comes Tuesday. One more game. Team USA versus whoever is standing across from them with the World Baseball Classic trophy on the line. Paul Skenes will be in the dugout. He will not pitch. He gave everything he had Sunday, and the WBC pitch count rules protect his arm for his regular season with the Pirates. But he will be in the dugout. Watching. Ready to celebrate if the bullpen that held the Dominican Republic scoreless for 4 2/3 innings can do it one more time for 9 more innings on Tuesday. The most dangerous lineup in WBC history scored 1 run against Team USA on Sunday night. 1 run. One more game.